Hi everyone, Natasha here, and around my home today I am in my office and we have kind of a gray start to the day. We had a storm last night, so we enjoyed hearing the sounds of the rumbling thunder and the little bit of rain. We even had a bit of hail, but it wasn't too bad, thankfully. So that was kind of how we wrapped up our evening last night, and this morning the clouds have still kind of hung around. I think we might even get more rain today. But besides that, I'm up here in my office. I've been working on the last few things to reset my planner for May, and I wanted to share that with you today. So grab your planner and something cozy to drink. We can flip through our planners together and talk about my process for resetting for a new month. So stay tuned for that, and welcome to my office. Welcome back to my home. I'm so glad you're joining me today for another planner video. If you've been following along, then you'll notice my planner looks a little different. I decided to take off that beautiful mocha brown cover from Live Love Posh. I still really like it, but I was kind of in the mood for something lighter and brighter for the month of May. And I just love this cover that came in the Jane's Agenda Deluxe Subscription Box for May. And I felt like I wanted to really get the most out of seeing it and using it. And I thought it just might be the time to switch out of that heavier planner cover and try this laminated cover for a while. I like how these work and function, especially when I get the elastic ribbon on them. I still think having that more rigid cover helps to just make my planner feel a little more sturdy and held together, but this definitely works, and it's a lot lighter this way and easier to flip around through my pages. So, there's just pros and cons with each, and basically it was time for a change. So we changed things up a bit. So besides taking off that outer cover, the other thing I was kind of thinking about is Jane's Agenda just launched a couple of new cover colors for the month of May and Mother's Day. So there's a beautiful blush pink snap-in cover. This is one of Jane's Agenda's navy blue snap-in covers. So it's the same idea, except it's a beautiful blush pink, and this center plastic piece here is actually a translucent plastic with, I think, a little bit of gold sparkle. It's just gorgeous, but I do have this one, and again, it's just kind of a darker look and feel, so it's not what I'm wanting to use right now, but I'm contemplating getting that blush cover, and I thought, well, I'll try it like this for a little while and see if I still feel like I need to order that. Maybe that'll be my Mother's Day gift to myself or my birthday gift to myself, since my birthday is in June and it's right around the corner. All right, so let's dive into the planner here and take a look at what I've done to kind of change things up and set it up for a new month. So if you saw my last video, I walked through the beginning process of resetting for a new month. So of course the cover is one thing that I updated. I also had printed out a bunch of these planner index pages. I think I was not thinking clearly when I was working on this. So I originally had one page for each section in my planner, which, added quite a few pages. And then as I started trying to fill the first one out, it dawned on me the purpose was really to use your tabs and your bigger sections here and then just list what's in each one. So I did that, removed the extra ones, which also helped take a few pages out of my planner. So now I have my index set up, and I like this system because it's easy to change it out. I use an erasable friction pen, so I can always go through and change things, and it's also kind of a guided system, so it just helped me fill it out quickly and move on to the next thing and not get hung up on making this beautiful, amazing index, because the point of it was just to kind of have a quick reference. And then nothing else has really changed. I've been continuing to use, the overview sections, just kind of reference. The inbox I add to periodically. My routines tab is where I'm still using the April card, and I've gotten a few more tasks checked off of this little bingo cleaner house card. And then my weekly cleaning schedule, I went through and I remembered I had a little stamp that was just a blank monthly calendar, and I wanted to have that on this weekly cleaning schedule to mark which week of the month we were in, because that helps me remember my Fly Lady zones. So I just stamped that on each of the pages and got those all set up. I also added this little Fly Lady tip-in card, which I had this back in my reference section, and I thought it made more sense to probably pull it up here in the front where I do all of my tracking for my cleaning. So you can see this is the week that we're on, and I have everything filled out and the week marked, and I don't get everything checked off. You can see if you look back, like it's hit and miss what I get done, but I do feel like just having the tracker and looking at my zone cleaning list has made me get better about keeping up with some of these routines and habits for keeping a cleaner home. So that to me is the goal. I don't care if I'm doing it perfectly or not. It's just doing something, and that's helping with that. So I can't decide if I'm going to go ahead and purchase another set of these weekly cleaning schedule inserts, because they are available in the Jane's Agenda shop now. And overall, I love how they're set up. I feel like it was very easy to fill out and pretty functional for me to use. Like I said, I just added this one calendar, but everything else is how it came. But I'm toying with the idea of making my own version just so that I wouldn't have to rewrite the same tasks every week, because essentially I'm basically doing my Fly Lady day specific tasks on the same day or the same list every week. So we'll see if I get around to working on that, or maybe go back to the one I had created before. I might do that, but I like having the Jane's Agenda inserts because the paper is nice. They're just set up and ready to go, and all I have to do is like plug in my information. And on the flip side too, I was thinking, well, sometimes I do change up what I'm doing per day. So that remains to be seen how I'm going to do that. Same thing with the zone cleaning inserts. I still haven't decided if I'm just sticking with mine, which I know how to use. And I think that's part of my hesitation is I set these up with the way that my brain works in the Fly Lady system, and I know how to use them. The Jane's Agenda ones are really nice. They're just more detailed. One thought I had was what I might do that would help me sort of know what I'm doing with these is just to add maybe a color code at the top and a heading for where these zones or where these rooms fall within my zones that I'm used to using. So like the Fly Lady Zone 1 is going to be your foyer, and I use my front porch on there as well. It would be my dining room, and then we have like a parlor or hearth room, we call it. So since there's two for the dining room, I could potentially just relabel one of these parlor, and then that would be all of my Zone 1 cleaning pages. So it kind of makes it into more of a project, so I don't know if it's worth doing that, but for the meantime, I did mark out like where I was in which zones. So that's that. Then my affirmations hasn't changed. I'm still just flipping to this page when I feel like it in the mornings, choosing a few to say to myself and moving on to the rest of my day. Now let's look at the May setup. So I've taken all of my April pages out and I moved those into my 2024 archive planner. For a few minutes, I was contemplating swapping out my discs. These are Happy Planner expander discs, which I think are almost as big as the 2-inch discs from Jane's Agenda. But as you can see, if I wanted to have like pretty matching discs, this would be great to have the gold discs on my archive planner. And then I think these rose gold discs would look pretty with this cover, but it would take a few minutes to do that process of switching everything out. And I don't know that it's really that necessary, because in the end, I don't plan on keeping my archive pages on a disc system. My long-term goal is to get them bound into a book, and I've yet to do that for last year, but that's still one of my long-term goals. So all of that's just ideas I have, but I wanted to share if you're kind of trying to figure out what to do with your old planner inserts and what you're doing with them. I like to use mine as memory keeping, so I want to keep mine, and I prefer to just have them in a bound book. I think they're easier to store and a little bit smaller to store that way, but that's another project. So I love to give myself projects. I just have to rein in how many I can do. Okay, so here's the month of May. So we had that pretty insert, that dashboard from the May box from Jane's Agenda. And then the monthly spread, I've pretty well filled in everything. We have a lot of things happening this month with the end of the school year and my daughter's dance recital coming up and just Mother's Day and all of the things. So it felt good to have quite a few of these things already plugged into my planner when I started May. So this forward planning system I'm using is working well, and then I just kept adding to it and filling in more as I found things out. And I did go ahead and list out some of the focus for each week so that I don't forget about that. And I also went through my April list, and on my April page, I did a quick just journal section up here of reviewing the month of April, what worked, what didn't, what I want to do better going forward, or what I'm continuing on with and what I'm letting go of. And I went through my 2 task lists and checked off what I had completed, transferred what I want to keep on my list. And there were a few things I just crossed off and said they're not happening, I don't need to do them, or someone else has done them. And then I also used my goals pages, and I'll jump around for just a minute to show you that. So in my personal section, I added the vision board. So I haven't worked on that yet, but that is something I added to my list to try to get done this month. I had that goals page, which I showed you all this last month. And then I went through and did a little bit of reflection on how the month went and how these goals worked, and then thought ahead about how I want to do the next month's goals. So my May goals and how those are going to break down into individual steps. And you can see I had never ended up going in to do like the how breakdown for these 2 sections, but it's fine. I just reflected on things and kind of used that to move forward. And then the last section is the home section. And I haven't done that reflection yet, I just realized, so I need to do that. So anyway, once I had done that process, then these items were things I added to my monthly to-do list. So like all of my videos that I want to film, I added here, and I just drew a line to differentiate between my social media and YouTube videos here. And then all of this is basically Jordan Essentials related. So these are my goals for that business I have. And then this is my little side jobs, some things I'm working on with that. So these are little small projects. And then my personal and home projects and goals and tasks are listed here. I did a little better this month with, first of all, doing this at the beginning of the month instead of what I did in April, which was doing it on the 3rd week, I think, but it's okay. I still ended up getting a lot done, so it doesn't really matter, but it felt good to start the month kind of having a more clear vision as I'm setting this part up. And I also went through and gave myself some deadlines. So we'll see how I do on that. I tend to be somebody that loves to plan, so I can do this kind of stuff all day long, but getting the stuff accomplished and checked off is sometimes my struggle. So we're going to see how the month goes. I have my personal month page set up, and this is from my Louise Hay Colors and Numbers book. And just as a little side note, I'll show you 2 of the journals that I have been using daily. So this one I've had for a long time. This is my 5-year memory journal for my daughter. It's just about used up and it is really full. So I am looking for a new one because I need to get that by June. So if you have a favorite 5-year journal or memory book that you like, drop it in the comments down below. This is the one from Leuchtturm. And I've looked at several. I think Unbound Planner has one. There's a few other companies that I know I've seen have some version of this, but I haven't decided which one I like. And I kind of need to relook at what they offer and see what if it matches what I'm looking for. So let me know if you have any suggestions on a good 5-year memory book. And then this is the journal or planner cover. I think it's called a notebook cover from Jane's Agenda that came in the May Deluxe Subscription Box. And I realized this would work great to keep all of my little side notebooks and journals that I use pretty often on a regular basis, but it's nice just to have this one thing that I can pick up and they're all in here. So like I mentioned, that Louise Hay Colors and Numbers book, I just tucked this in here. This is a book I'm reading that I am like halfway finished. I'd like to finish that. This is that Reflections journal from Jane's Agenda, which I periodically will do. I will say I've noticed that I have a harder time completing a page. Like I can go in the morning and fill it out, and sometimes I remember to do the midday check-in, but I don't always bring this with me So then a lot of times I forget to go back and like do the evening check-in. So I might need to think about a different place I could keep this to remind me to do it more often. I also have this gratitude journal, which again, I just sort of use when I feel like it. This is from Belinda Ellsworth's company, Step Into Success, but I really like it because it's pretty simple and in the layout, just gives you a little bit for each day of the week and then something at the beginning and something at the end of the week. So sometimes when I feel like doing some gratitude journaling, I will do that, but I like that these are all now tucked in here. So that's that. And like I mentioned, that Louise Hay Colors and Numbers book is where I got my personal month information for May. And I've shifted to these inserts. So these came in the May Deluxe Subscription Box. I saved the cover sheet because I knew I would not remember what they are called. So these are the Daily 14, and this was a sample pack that we got. It was a special edition for the May subscription box. So we just got the month of May and the month of June. I think these will be coming to the shop starting in July, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So you might want to just check in July. So I'm giving these a try since I had mentioned the layout I used last month kind of felt cramped by the end of the month when I had used those pages a lot. It was just a lot of writing on those 2 pages, and I kind of ran out of space to put my lists sometimes. So this has been nice to have a little bit more space to spread out with my weekly and daily planning, and I do think this is a nice hybrid. So we have a weekly side here. So this column is just for the week. I like that we get the little calendar. So again, I can highlight what zones I'm in for the week and just sort of keep an eye on where we're at in the month. And then my few habits, and this has been good to have a weekly task list. And I just broke up some of my tasks based on what they're for. So I used this dot grid this week for specific ones for this side job that I have. And then I've gone through and added the weather for the first week. So that's been kind of fun to have my weather back in there because I hadn't been doing that for a while. And it's nothing crucial, but it's just kind of nice when I'm planning ahead, especially when I'm getting my outfit set for the week. And the other thing I did was use that Louise Hay Colors and Numbers book to jot down my affirmation and my focus for the day based on that. So that way it's a quick glance at the color scheme too. So that's what I use to plan my wardrobe. And having a little more space, actually the width is what I've noticed. I really like having just a little bit more space across the page to write, even my to-do list. It just felt like everything has a little more room to breathe and work and has been going well. So you can see I don't have a ton of hourly time blocking that I do, but it's just nice to spread it out a little bit more. And if I had to, I could always make my list go up into the day, but I haven't felt the need for that. And I have my dashboard that marks things out. I keep a Post-it note here. I just took the one off because it has all of my errands and there's some specific stores on there that I need to keep private, but that I'll just put that back here as we leave today to go run errands. And that way I can easily flip open my planner and see those, I don't know, it's like 5 or 6 places we need to go. And then I have the rest of the week laid out, nothing on my to-do list yet, so I'll just kind of transfer as we go. This is a little more of a blank week, so you can see I have nothing added yet here. And I just have a few events plugged in to the schedule portion. But like I said, I do have all of my affirmations in for the whole month, so I'll keep flipping and you can kind of see how this is laid out for the rest of the month. And it felt good to get all this part done and get all of my scheduling things done so that as I start each day, it's no big deal to just flip open and start my task list. And it gives me that fresh start feeling, which is what I liked about a daily page, but it's a little more compact and less pages in my planner because of the 2 days on a page layout. And that takes us to the end of May. And then here we are, and I have the rest of my months for this year. Everything else is pretty much the same. My side tabs are my main categories, and then the bottom tabs are subcategories within each of those. And of course, the top tabs are my morning check-in items that I want to do pretty often. I don't do them every morning, but it gives me a place to remember that. So that is my May setup. I hope that was fun for you to see some of the updates and changes I've made, and also to think about how to wrap up a month in your planner and set up for a new month. I don't always do that review process, but I do find it helpful when I do it. So I'd like to keep trying to make that a goal, is to get some sort of a review process done as I'm finishing out a month. So thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button down below if you enjoyed this video. And I'd love to hear about how your planning and setup is going for the month of May. If you have kids in school, then you're probably like us and really feeling that all of a sudden it's the end of the school year, even though we knew it was coming, and it gets really busy. But it's kind of fun to be thinking about the summer and different schedules and different things we want to do and trips we want to take and places we want to go visit, and just all the fun things that come with summer. Thanks again for joining me. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.